Okay. So this week, the 25th, we're going to go over chapter 5. Next week, on the 4th, we'll go over chapters 6 and 7. And then 8 and 9 on the 18th when we come back from spring break. Okay. And then chapter 10 on the 25th of March. Okay. So by the 1st of March, 1st of April, we should be in that project study. That's what I'm looking for. I want to say module. Project study. Segment. Yeah, like where you're only coming in to work on the project. After that, once we finish chapter 10, then we're done with the textbook and we'll be in that process where we're just coming in to work on the project, right? So if you have the assignments done already that are due the next week, then you are welcome to just log in for attendance and then you can log out, okay? But if you are not done with the next week's assignments, then you need to either stay in class until they are done, or you can log in online and ask questions as you need to, okay? So pretty much the month of April, we will be in that setup for the project. And then the first 2 weeks of May, we'll go back into being here in person, okay? Everybody, I believe it is, let's see, let me double check. This is week 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so on May the 6th, everybody has to be in person. We're taking a final exam review. Everyone needs to be in person on May 6th. Okay, and then the final exam will be on the 13th. Okay, if you do well enough on the review, then you don't have to come in and take the final exam on the 13th. Okay, but everyone needs to be in person on May 6th. Any questions about our calendar?
No, sir.
Sounds good. Let's jump into chapter 5. In chapter 5, we are going to introduce a topic that's going to carry us through the next 4 chapters, 5, 6, 7, and chapter 8. Okay. And that concept is called the purchasing cycle. So the purchasing cycle is a 4-step process. Okay. What do you think about when you hear the word cycle?
It repeats.
It repeats, right? It keeps going on and on and on, right? So imagine our cycle has to start somewhere. So imagine we are starting a brand new restaurant. And the first thing we have to do is we have to buy all of our ingredients. So we have to purchase all of the ingredients that we have that we're going to use, okay? After we purchase the ingredients, then we have to receive them at our location. Okay, so that's step 2. We receive everything. Then we're going to put all of that stuff into storage. So that's the 3rd step. Then when we issue it, issuing means basically we're putting it into production. Because if you remember from a previous chapter, when does food become part of our food cost? When we're using it, right? If it's in our inventory, if it's in our storage, we're not using it yet. So that's not part of our food cost yet. So when we issue it, we put it into production, then it becomes part of our food cost. Okay. Then we do this wonderful thing called inventory. Right here. And that tells us how much we need to purchase. And the cycle begins again. Right? There's one section that's not on here. And it's a concept called directs. That is something that goes from receiving. It skips step 3. So we don't even store it. It just goes directly into production. So really highly perishable things like fresh seafood, that's going to go directly into production. We're not gonna hold it on, we're not gonna hold on to it in our storage, okay? Or let's say we are a coffee shop and we partner with a local bakery to, produce croissants for us and different other pastries. Those things go directly into production and sale. They skip that inventory, that storage process. So those are called directs. Um, the next four chapters, 5, 6, 7, and 8, we are going to talk about how we can control costs in each one of these stages of the purchasing cycle. Okay, and so today we're going to focus on the purchasing process. So first, when we're purchasing, we have to know what ingredients we need to purchase. What tool tells us what ingredients we have to purchase? Carla, what do you think?
Recipe.
I thought you said something, sorry. The recipe, yes. The recipe is the tool. Okay, I don't think a lot of times, I don't think students think of the recipe as a tool, right? When we think of food, we think of what? Our knives, our measuring cups, those kind of toolkit out of our toolkit. But the recipe itself is a tool that's going to tell us what ingredients we can or we should order. There are two categories of product specifications. Who can remember one of them? We've talked about it in a previous class. Yes, quality. And what's the other one?
Quantity.
Quantity. I'll spell it out. I was going to abbreviate it, but I'll spell it out. Quality and quantity. Okay. If we look at the chart right here, our product is an apple. Okay. Pretty much everything on this chart is a quality except for the packaging. So we purchase it in 15 pounds. That's the quantity that we're purchasing, right? Everything else is pretty much a quality. So the variety. What are some other examples of varieties of apples? Green apples, so Granny Smith. What else?
Pink lady.
Pink Lady.
Crisp.
Crisp, yeah, the Honey Crisp, good. Yellow Delicious, Red Delicious. All these different types of apples.
Yeah.
They have different types of, what's that?
It's just red, green, yellow. No, and they have different like.
Red, green, and yellow? Nope. There's even, well, this one's Fuji apples, right? They all have different flavor profiles. I like the Pink Ladies when I'm making a juice. If I'm juicing the lemons, there's a little bit of tartness and sweetness. Some of them, like Yellow Delicious, are really kind of mushy. They have a lot of moisture content, right? Whereas the Granny Smiths are crisp and tart, which makes them ideal for using them in what?
Apple pie.
In pies, making apple pies. Can we use a Red Delicious in an apple pie?
Nope.
No, those get turned to mush, right? And it's just it's not appealing, it's not flavorful. So the recipe is going to tell us those product specifications of what we can or cannot use. Okay. We also might look at the style. So in this case, it's fresh. What other ways can apples come to us into our kitchen?
Frozen.
Frozen. They can come pre-sliced. Yeah, absolutely. I went to a food show. Who is not familiar with the concept of a food show? So Benny Keith, we all know who Benny Keith is. Cisco, those are the major big suppliers. They do their food show. And so they basically welcome all these restaurateurs to come in and they give you basically samples of all the new products that are coming out. Sometimes it's like salad dressing, sauces, marinades. Sometimes it's like actual. I went to a one. It wasn't Benny Keith or Cisco. It was a group called Performance Food Group (PFG). That's who my supplier was up in Maine. So one summer I was up there and they literally had an entire row, probably as long as this room is wide, and it was all the vegetables pre-sliced. Right? So if you're having a salad bar, you don't have to pay somebody to slice your bell peppers and your cucumbers and your tomatoes. They come already pre-sliced. It's what we call a convenience item. So which one do you think is more expensive, the pre-sliced or the raw? The pre-sliced, right? But then the raw has a little bit of labor involved, right? So there's lots of different things to consider as you are looking at the different styles. They could come canned, right? As far as apples are concerned. Frozen, they could come freeze-dried, they can come dehydrated. Lots of different ways, different categories and qualities of different ingredients we can come up with. How do you think knowing the quality and the quantity affects our food cost?
If it's like good quality, it's like probably more expensive.
Say that one more time.
If it's good quality, it's probably more expensive.
Okay, so based on like maybe the grade, that'll help us if we're purchasing like maybe let's say prime steak instead of choice, or USDA select or USDA choice.
It will help
Um,
like with our
that cost,
budget.
hold on one second. That cost in the different grades is going to make a difference, right? In the cost of our food cost. If we think back on chapter 4, we talk about that price value relationship. If our customers, bless you, if our customers are not willing to pay a higher price, then we probably can't get away with selling prime meat. We have to maybe go with a select or choice. Okay. Sorry, Juliana, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that it might help with our budgeting too.
Okay, so in what way does it help with our budgeting?
So, like if we know that we're going towards the end of the week and we have like specials, we know that the quality of something might be going like sooner, and we need to get it out. We'd get like more, I guess, profit in a way depending on how we sell it. So it's
Yeah.
also
That's a great example. Absolutely. Right. So if we know that, let's say, for example, there's a special on Benny Keith because they have to sell their product before it goes bad, right? It's getting close to that expiration date, and they're going to sell that for really cheap to us, and maybe we can buy it and use it as a special before it goes bad as well. Good. Let me give you an example about understanding the quantity helps your food cost. Okay. So like I mentioned in the past, I was a summer camp cook up in Maine. Okay. Um, and as I was getting closer to the end of the summer, okay, every week or every day, the campers would take their own lunches, right? And in the lunches, they would make their own sandwiches, but then also in the cooler would be a bag of apples and some saltine crackers. Okay. Now I could buy a 25-pound box of apples. Okay. But if it's the last week of camp, what I would usually do is I would go to the grocery store and just buy 5-pound bags of apples. Because I don't want to buy 25 pounds of apples and only use 5 or 10 pounds of it, right? I'd rather go to the grocery store and buy 5 pounds at a time. And if they go through it and they eat it, well, let me go get 5 more pounds, right? I don't want to waste any food. A couple summers ago, actually 2024, I went up at the end of the summer to go and celebrate their 50th anniversary of the camp. And the people who were running the kitchen that summer did not understand the concept of quality and quantity. They were ordering a lot of stuff that was unnecessary, but then they also ordered actually when I got there, the camp was over. It was the last day when I got there. It was the last day of camp. Cookout was happening, hamburgers, hot dogs, all that good stuff, right? And I walked into their storage room and there was a brand new box of apples that hadn't even been opened yet. Um, in the kitchen, in the refrigerator, it was full of product, right? And so, as a restaurateur, you want to manage your inventory in a way that you don't have a lot of excess. Because if we have a lot of quantity, what are some issues of having a lot of quantity of our ingredients?
It's spoiled.
It could spoil, yeah. It could expire before we have a chance to use it. What else? Let me open up the chat.
You're losing money.
We're losing money, right? Because we've paid for those ingredients. If it spoils, Am I gonna be able to sell that product? No. So I've paid for it. So my costs are gonna go up. Are my sales gonna go up? No, because I'm not selling it. So that's gonna be an issue with my food cost percentage. Okay. The other issue if we have a lot of something on hand, there's a tendency of our employees to be like, oh, there's so much. I'm gonna go ahead and just take a little bit. They're not gonna miss like one steak. They're not gonna miss one package of hamburgers. I gotta cook out this weekend. I gotta make sure I have hamburgers and hot dogs. I don't have time to go to HEB. So there's extra hamburgers here. I'm just gonna take some. Okay. Um, Destiny, yes, you're the waste log, I think we'll cover it in chapter 7 or 8. So yes, that's a great way to log the waste. But yeah, so if we have a lot of excess product, chances are it might grow legs and walk out the door, right? And then again, we've paid for it as cost, but we're not selling it. Okay. So So we want to determine how much we actually use of a product. Okay. This could be trial and error. You can purchase some product and then kind of see how much you use of it. Also, knowing your recipes and how many your recipes serve, that's going to help you determine how much product to buy. Okay. And then we want to establish this par level. Par. What does par mean? What is the definition of par? Where have
Like
you heard? Sorry, go ahead.
like the standard or something, I guess?
It is somewhat of a standard, yes. Where else have you heard the word par? In golf, right? And what does it mean in golf?
My third place.
You just probably heard it. Yeah. So in golf, what it's saying is like if it's a par three, right? That means you have 3 shots to get it from here to here. That's the minimum that you are allowed to take, okay, without any penalties. So the par in the restaurant is the same thing. It's the minimum amount that we have to have on hand to operate our restaurant. So that tells us this is how much product we have to have on hand. If we have too much, then it could spoil or it could grow legs and walk out the door, right? Our employees can take it. Or if we don't have enough, then we run out of our product and our guests aren't happy because we always run out of something, right? And so establishing what that par level is allows us to have a general idea of how much we are actually going to use. Okay. So to do par, we want to look at our daily usage. Okay. So our daily usage between deliveries. Okay, so our daily usage between deliveries, we have to figure out what that is going to be. Okay, so let's look at our calendar. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Okay, if I get a delivery on Wednesday and Saturday, okay, if I get a delivery on Wednesday and Saturday, Zion, give me an ingredient that we might use in the kitchen. Or like maybe like yeah, just give me an ingredient we might use.
Any,
Hmm.
mm, let's see.
What do you like to make? Enchiladas. Okay, cool. So what do we need for enchiladas? Tortillas, right? Okay. So let's say we go through 10 packages of tortillas on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Okay, so when I have that delivery on Wednesday, I'm gonna add these three up, and what do I get?
30.
30 packages. So when that delivery truck drives away, I need to make sure on Wednesday I have 30 packages of tortillas. That's going to get me through Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay. And now let's say we use 30 on Saturday. And then on Sunday, people love coming to us in the afternoon for brunch. And so we're going to use 50 packages on Sunday. Monday and Tuesday, we go back to our 10 packages. So we're going to add those up. What's 30 and 50? 80. And then 10 and 10 is 20. So 80 and 20 is 100.
100.
So Saturday, my par is 100 packages of tortillas. So on Saturday, when that truck drives away, I need to make sure I have 100 packages of tortillas to get me through Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. You guys see how par works? We look at that daily usage, okay? Now it's nice if they're all the same number, well, then we can multiply by 3, right? So there's 10 per day, multiply by 3. If there's different amounts like we have here, 30, 50, 10, and 10, and you just add them up, okay? Questions, comments, concerns about par and establishing our par. Now we might decide, okay, well, maybe we're gonna order 105 packages. Okay. And we order 105 packages. Well, then I just have 5 extra packages, meaning that I'll just have a few extra just in case I get busier than I thought I was going to, right? Or what happens if my case has 12 packages, right? So if I'm going to change that count to packages. Oops. If my case comes in 12 packages, can I just order 30 packages? No, I have to order 3 cases, which is equal to 36 packages. And that's okay because we're going to tell you, I'm going to show you in just a moment, those 6 extra packages, they'll just be in our inventory and we'll use them up first. What is that process called where we use the old product first?
FIFO.
FIFO, first in, first out. Okay. We want to make sure our employees are practicing FIFO, and we'll talk about that in the next chapter. So, one way that we can conserve costs and save money is not just ordering par. We don't just order par, okay? Because if we just order par all the time, meaning we're just going to order, okay, my par is 4, I'm going to order 4, okay? We have to take into consideration what's already in our inventory. And so what we do is let's look at this prime rib for right now. My par is 4 on Mondays, okay? And in inventory, I have 2. So that means I'm only going to buy 2. Because the goal is when that truck drives away, I'm up to par, okay? On Thursdays, my par is set at 6. I subtract the 2 that I have in inventory again, and then I buy 4 to get me back up to par. Okay, let's do a look at the next example. Our par is 4 on Monday, just like it was the previous Monday. But this time I go in and we have 3 prime ribs. That means our weekend maybe wasn't as busy as we thought it was going to be. Maybe it rained, and so we didn't have the number of customers and the guests that we thought we were going to have. Okay. Or maybe there was some other special event that was happening that we didn't know about. And so that's why it wasn't busy. So I've got those 3. I'm going to subtract it. This time I'm only going to buy 1. And I'm going to use those 3 first, and then I'll use that new one. Okay. And then come on come Thursday, we have 0 in inventory, so that I do need to buy all 6 in order to get me up to par. Okay? This is how it's really important for us to be able to figure out what we have in inventory and only purchase what we need to purchase. Because if you purchase more, then we're going to have a lot of excess. Right? That's all I have. I'm just kidding.
I was like, what?
I'm just kidding. We have one more activity. Okay. All right. So we're going to do a couple of examples here, practicing using that par. Okay. And then you do have a par homework as well, utilizing that par. Okay. Am I recording this? Okay, good. Whew. For a second there, I thought I wasn't recording. I almost said we should have a drinking game, and every time I say par, I have to take a drink. That would be somewhat inappropriate, I guess.
I'll take.
Yeah, there's juice and water. All right, par. Let's go with this first example here. Now, this is very similar to what we just saw on the PowerPoint, okay? However, now we're going to take into consideration a concept that we call lead time. Okay, our lead time usage. And what lead time usage means is that time between when we place the order. Okay, so we place the order here, and then the delivery of that item. Okay, so think about it this way. You place your order on Amazon, and then you get your order tomorrow. That is the time in between is your lead time. Okay, sometimes the lead time is 0. Sometimes the lead time is a day or 2. Okay, we don't shut down business for a day or 2 just because we're waiting for product, right? We still use that product as we are waiting for our order to come in. So that's what these first few examples we're going to show you is how to take that into consideration. Okay. Something else I was going to say about lead time usage. Oh, let me give you an example. So I worked at Chester's Hamburgers in high school. That was my high school job. Okay. In the evening, my boss would look at how much meat was left over from the day. Okay. They would look at the par for the next day and they would order enough meat to get us up to par. Okay. They would place that order after we were closed. So we had no more business. And that meat would come in the morning before we opened and served the public, which means there was no usage of product in between the time we place the order and the order arrives. And so that means the lead time is 0, but you don't have to take that into consideration. Okay. Now, for the purposes of this homework assignment, when it says morning, okay, so when it says Monday, AM, what that means is that is before we are open to the public. Okay, AM means before we're open to the public. And then Wednesday, AM means the delivery happens before we're open to the public. We get that product before we open for the day. So there's no usage on that particular day. Okay. So on Monday, if I order before I open, am I going to use product throughout Monday? Yes. So I'm going to do a check mark. What comes next? Monday, Tuesday. Of course, I'm going to use product on Tuesday. And on Wednesday, I'm not going to use product because that delivery is going to come in before I open to the public. Okay. So how many check marks do I have? 2 days. So my lead time is 2 days. My usage, my daily usage is 10 bottles. So that means my lead time usage is 20 bottles. Lead time usage. Okay. So let me show you this example here. 48 is our par. We have in inventory 22 items, 22 bottles. Okay. So I subtract that from my par and it tells me I should order 26. Okay. Well, because you've taken Ms. Uminski's cost control class, you know that you have to add in this lead time usage of 20 bottles. So that way when the truck driver drives away, you have your par of 48. So you should actually order 46 bottles, not 26. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns about that? How we got to 46 amount to order? I'm going to do a quick demonstration. So let's pretend that this is my shelf. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I've got 22 bottles on my shelf. We all see that?
Yes.
Okay, if I only ordered, I'm gonna use a different color. If I only ordered my 26 bottles, okay? I ordered 26 bottles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. My shelf goes a little bit further. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. If I only order my 26 bottles, okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, Monday happens, there goes 10 bottles. Tuesday happens, there goes 10 bottles. When that truck drops off my 26 bottles that are in red, those are my brand new ones, how many bottles do I actually have in my inventory? I only have 28. I have 2 in my inventory. Add those 26, I'm only at 28. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm short because I used product during that lead time. So you have to take that lead time usage into consideration when we are purchasing and ordering. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? What's another example? Oops, I see a chat. Hold on. Brian, does PAR ever take into account spoilage? Ideally, you should be using the PAR so that you avoid spoilage, right? You should take into account the delivery times and how much product you have so you don't over order and it doesn't spoil. So that's the kind of the purpose for PAR is to figure out what the minimum you need to have on hand in order to operate so you don't have spoilage. Absolutely. Okay, so let's do this next one. Our par is 24 bottles. In inventory, we have 6. So if I subtract 24 from 6 from 24, what do I get?
18.
18. Okay. So the novice restaurateur would order 18 bottles and they call it a day. Okay. However, because you've taken Ms. Uminski's cost control class, you now know what about our lead time? We have to ask about our lead time. Okay. So let's look at our ordering. We order on Monday morning. So what I do is I like to do Monday AM under order. The delivery is Tuesday morning. So delivery is Tuesday AM. So now I have to ask myself, I place my order on Monday AM. Am I going to have service on Monday?
Yes.
Yes. My delivery comes before I open. So do I have to take consideration of any delivery? No, I'm
No.
not going to serve on. Let me back that up. Yes, I am going to serve on Tuesday, but I don't have to. I don't have to account for any usage because the delivery comes in before we open. So then now how many check marks do I have? Just one. So one day is my lead time. Okay. multiply by my usage of 10 bottles. So my lead time usage, is 10 bottles. So now I gotta come over here, add those 10 bottles back in. And I should order 28. Okay. It seems weird. Like, Mr. Minsky, what are you talking about? My par is 24. Why should I order more than my par? Well, the answer is because we're going to use product during the day on Monday. And so when that truck drives away on Tuesday, I need to make sure I have at least 24 on hand. Okay. And that's where that inventory comes. Now, if we take a look, what is an issue you might see here? I only have 6 in inventory. What's my daily usage? 10. So there's a chance I might run out anyways, right? And that's okay.
So in that case, would you order more or no?
In that case, you would probably just order the par.
Okay.
Yeah, because you are technically going to potentially run out because you have less than what you actually have. But mathematically, yes, you would order 28. And if you ordered 28 this time, maybe the reason why you have 6 is because your par was off and you actually maybe need to adjust your par. Maybe the reason why you have a shortage is because you are actually busier than you think. And so by ordering that little extra, it might help you test out whether you need to have more on hand in the future. Okay. And again, if we order that couple extra, depends on what the item is. If this is a bottle of barbecue sauce, right, that we put on the tables, is it going to be that much difference if we have 3 extra bottles on the shelf in the back? Probably not. Okay. But if we have a whole bunch extra, again, people could walk away with it. If there's a whole bunch on the shelf, you're trying to fit them all on the shelf, someone might bump the shelf and then all those bottles crash, and then you have broken glass everywhere. So lots of things to consider. You don't want to order too much is the gist of that. Let's do one more example. Our par is 500 pounds. Our daily usage is 150, and in inventory we have 200 pounds. So 500 pounds is my par. In inventory, I have 200. So I'm going to subtract those two numbers and get what?
300 pounds.
300 pounds. Now let's look at my lead time. My order is placed on Tuesday night, and the delivery is Thursday morning. Okay. So Tuesday PM, Thursday AM. So on Tuesday PM, are we going to have any usage?
No.
No, we're already closed for the day. I placed my order, so we're not going to have any usage on Tuesday. Wednesday, do I have usage? Yes.
Yes.
Thursday morning?
No.
Because we're
No.
going to get the delivery before we open to the public. So we're not going to have any daily usage from that particular order, right?
Yes, sir.
But this looks weird, right? You say, Mr. Uminski, Tuesday to Thursday, and my daily usage is only how many days?
1.
1 day, right? So understanding how that is calculated, that lead time is calculated. So 1 day of 150 pounds, I'm going to add that. And so I should actually order 450 pounds. Okay, you see how that works? Questions, comments, concerns? Any questions about par?
Mm.
All right, let's do one last example. Okay, so Destiny, how do we get 450 pounds? That's okay, no need to apologize. We take our par, that's how much the minimum we have to have on hand. We subtract what's already in inventory, right? We don't want to just purchase par. We want to subtract what's in inventory. And so that tells me that 300 pounds is what I'm supposed to order, but I have to take into consideration that lead time usage. And so because Tuesday PM, Tuesday night means we're already closed for the day. We're not going to have any usage on Tuesday. Wednesday, we are going to have usage. We have to get through Wednesday. Got it. Okay, cool. Sweet. All right, so we have another example here of eggs and Bud Light. Let's do this example here, okay? Pulling it all together. We want to look at, we use 250 pounds of potatoes every Monday through Thursday, and then we use 400 pounds every Friday through Sunday, okay? So we want to calculate the weekday and weekend par. We want to use a 10% safety factor. Remember we were talking about those tortillas, the packages of tortillas, we add a couple extra packages, okay?
Yes.
This one, we're gonna do a percentage over, just so we can have a little bit extra kind of built in, just in case we're busier than we need to be, okay? Or busier than we thought we were going to be. So
Okay.
let's do our weekday first. We use 250 pounds per day. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. How many days is that? 4 days. So that means I need to have 1,000 pounds on hand. My safety factor is 10%. So I'm going to multiply by 1 point, what?
Hmm?
1.1. Because remember, when we talked about the budgeting in chapter 2, when we want to increase by a percentage, you put 1 in front of it. And then when you multiply it, it gives you the automatic answer all at one time without having to do any addition. So our 10% is the 0.10. And then we add that 1. Okay. If you want to think of it a different way, if we add 10%, what's 100 plus 10?
110.
110. And then we move that decimal place over 2, and that's where we get that 1.10. Okay. So that means my weekday par is 1,100 pounds. Jot that down in your notes because you're going to need to remember that. Weekday par is 1,100 pounds. The weekday par is 1,100 pounds. Next, our weekend par. We have 400 pounds times 3 days, right? Because that's Saturday or Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 1,200 pounds times 1.10 gives me what?
1,300.
1,320, 1,320 pounds. Okay. 1,320 pounds. So jot that down in your notes. That's our weekend. That's the weekend. So when that truck drives away on Friday, they bring me my potatoes. When that truck drives away on Friday, I need to have 1,320 pounds in my store to get me through the weekend.
Saturday and Sunday. Okay.
Exactly. And then on Monday, when that truck drives away, I need to make sure I have 1,100 pounds so that I can get through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay.
Okay.
That's my par.
That's it?
That's not quite it.
Okay.
That's our par. So yes, we just figured out our par.
The
Now
part.
let's put
Okay.
it all together. So the manager prepares for the Friday morning delivery by conducting a physical inventory, meaning they actually physically go in and count how many pounds of potatoes they have. Okay. They notice there are, ooh, I did not see there was a typo there. Hold on. Are 300 pounds of potatoes in inventory. How many pounds should they order to get through the weekend? Okay. So, what is my weekend par?
1320.
1,320.
Good. 1320 is my weekend par. How much do I have in inventory?
300.
300.
300. So I subtract those and I get 1,020 pounds. Okay. 1,020 pounds. My lead time usage. So if my order is placed on Thursday AM and my delivery is Friday AM, am I gonna have usage on Thursday?
Yes.
Yes. What about Friday? No. Okay. What is my daily usage on Thursdays? It's 250 pounds, right? Because we're talking about Thursday. So this is where it's kind of tricky. I'm using my weekend par, but I have to use my weekday usage because I'm looking at my usage on Thursday. Okay, so it kind of throws you off just a little bit, but that's okay. We're gonna add that 250 pounds of lead time usage. We add those together and we get 1,270 pounds. Okay. Now potatoes come in 50-pound bags. So how many should they order? Can I tell my produce person, hey, I just need 25.4 bags of potatoes? No, I'm gonna go ahead and order 26 bags. Okay, I'm gonna have a little bit extra. That's okay, right? Because I'm actually ordering 1,300 pounds. I'm gonna have 30 extra pounds of potatoes, but that's okay. Maybe I'm gonna be busier. Maybe if I have them on Monday, I'm not gonna order as much on Monday because I have extra product in my inventory. Does that make sense? Okay, so now let's go the opposite direction. Let's prepare for Monday's delivery. So the manager is preparing for Monday morning delivery. There we go. So our manager's preparing for Monday morning delivery by conducting a physical inventory. They notice there are, oh my gosh, how many typos do I have in this one? 600 pounds of potatoes in inventory. So how many pounds should they order to get through the week? So what is my weekday par?
1,100.
1,100, right? Because I'm preparing for Monday's order to get through the week. So that's my weekday par. My daily usage is 400 pounds because I'm still in the weekend. Okay. So if I order on Sunday after closing, so Sunday PM, and it comes on Monday morning, Monday AM. Oh, sorry, that was Saturday. Saturday PM. Then I have Sunday, but because it's Saturday after we close, no, we already had service that day. And Monday AM means we're not there yet. Okay. So just one day. So my par, 1,100. Inventory, 600. Subtract those two,
500.
500 pounds. Plus my 400 pounds, because that's my daily usage of one day, 900. How many 50-pound bags?
1,800.
18 bags. Okay, So 18 bags is what I need to order in order to get me through that week. Hey, what's up? Okay. All right. So you can see how sometimes we have to mix and match the weekend par with the weekday usage because we want to look and see what is the usage on the day is that day of our lead time. Okay. So that is all I have for today for chapter 5. Now, we are done extremely early. Okay. You have a homework assignment. Par. Let's see what it looks like. In Canvas, you have a homework assignment. It is the purchasing formula and par homework. Okay. Purchasing formula and par homework. It is due next week. If you turn that in before you log off or before you leave this classroom, I will give you double the points on your homework assignment. Okay. I'll give you double the points on your homework assignment. You can log into a computer over here, or you can use your phone too. You can, if you have Canvas on the Canvas app, you can do it. It's a quiz in Canvas. I'll give you a hint. The first 2 we already did in class. So you're really just doing 2 more problems, the eggs and the Bud Light. That's it. Okay. Everyone stop and look at me for a minute. The reason why I'm doing this, because I know that some of you are probably like me and like, yes, we get out of class early. And you're gonna, then it's like, oh my gosh, it's Tuesday night and I haven't done these 4 questions. And I'm stressed now to get these 4 questions done. So whenever we get out of class early, take that time to actually do the homework that's while the information is fresh in your mind, and then log off. Okay. So I'll be available for any questions. You guys are all adults. You can choose what you want to do with your time. But if you do those 4, then you can just log off and head out. And I'll give you double points once I go in and start grading tonight before I leave. All right.
And it's the purchase and par homework, right?
Yes, that's the purchasing
Okay.
formula and par homework. Correct.
Got it.
Anne Marie, I am going to you don't need to show me that you did it. I'll grade it. If you need help with that's fine too. Anne Marie, I'm gonna make you the host for a moment. Just so I can log off and start processing the video.
Okay.
And then I'll be right back in.
Sounds good.